Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies, and behind me is a 40-foot container from Fastgo targets. Now, Fastgo make targets for a whole bunch of people, and when I say that, what they do is they make a target out of foam for the customer, and then the customer can rebrand that product. So you'll often see targets around with different names, but actually made by Fastgo. And even the name Fastgo is a bit controversial because the company's actually called Fastgo Trading, but then someone else trademarked the name Fastgo in Australia, so you weren't allowed to use it. Anyway, I think they've gone away now, so I think you can go back to using the name Fastgo. The company is made out of Vietnam, and they make targets, and they make them for the consumer, as I said. But this year they've made a whole bunch of different targets, and I'm going to sort of show you those. Now, just before we get into that, this container arrived this morning at 7 o'clock this morning at my store. So I had to get up for 7 o'clock, and it was raining, windy, cold, terrible conditions. So before I even unpacked this container, I had to clear out the area to make way for the forklift. We're going to open up now so you can see what's inside it. Now, just on this container, it wasn't due in for another 2 weeks, so it came in extremely fast, and I hadn't even paid customs clearance. I hadn't paid the freight for it. It literally just rocked up at my door, and I said to the freight company, I said, "This is really unusual," and he said, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting it for another 2 weeks." So I'm not sure how that happens. He said it's really hard at the moment to get stuff into Australia, and I'm like, I know. There's massive delays. My last sea shipment took an extra 4 weeks to get in. This one's early, so let's have a look at some of the new targets from Fastgo. They're generally really good value, and let's go and have a look. Okay, so the first thing was I didn't realize it was a 40-foot container. Yeah, I did when it arrived, but I didn't realize I ordered a 40-foot container. So it was a bit of a surprise, because when you order the Fastgo shipment, I probably ordered this in January, maybe December, and it's now end of June. So it's been in the sort of sea, so I would have paid, you pay for it before they make it. Okay, so you pay for it, they then make it, then they then ship it. So I suppose it takes them about 2 months to make the targets for you, and then it probably takes about 2 months on the boat to get here, and that doesn't account for the 6 month delay. But there's delays at the moment because there's such demand. So okay, so what we're going to look at first off are these yellow cores up here. So Fastgo has changed their core system for their targets. So they have a hole in the center, they stick these replacement cores in, so you don't have to replace the whole foam target. In the past, when they cut out the hole, there's basically the thickness of the blade left, and that created a problem. So what they did is they glued foam around the outside. Now that created a problem because when you shot your arrows and you hit that glue, your arrows were basically stuck in the target because they've hit this glue. Now that Fastgo have gone away from that. So now there's no glue on the edge of the target, so they're actually cutting them wider. I don't know how they manage the blade thickness. Maybe it's just wasted foam now, I don't know, but basically now they just fit tight. There's no more glue, so there's no more of the arrows hitting the glue and not being able to pull them out. The replacement centers are twice as thick as the target, so when you blow out your first center, which comes with the target, the next one's going to be about twice as thick. The Fastgo centers are about half the price of your 11 centers. They're quite a different material to 11. 11's very soft to pull out and will crumble. The Fastgo foam doesn't tend to crumble. It tends to sort of hold in place, but it's harder to pull your arrows out of than the 11 centers. I'm going to say the Fastgo foam's probably a little bit softer than the 11 foam, but it's not too bad. And once you sort of, when I say it's not too bad, it's really hard to pull your arrows out. So use lube on your arrows. But once you sort of soften up the core a bit, it's not too bad. And once you've been shooting it for a while and you've softened it up and you've got the thicker core on, it's actually not too bad. Now I got a question yesterday from a club saying, well, I want to buy an 11 target and how durable is it? I don't know how to answer these questions because look, the targets are pretty good, but you can blow out a target literally in a day if you shoot at the same spot, fat arrows, and shooting a compound. But if you're shooting recurves, you're shooting at 30 meters or 40 meters, the target's probably going to last you forever. So I've got a Fastgo target at home that I shoot in my reviews. It's probably been out the back now for a year, and I'm pretty good with it. Like, I haven't replaced any of the cores. I move my targets around, I shoot different spots, but I haven't replaced anything on it. The Fastgo target sells for about $400. These cores are probably about $50 each, which is about half the price of the 11s. These targets here are really, really popular. They're a portable target, so they're 20 centimeters wide by 50 by 50, and they have the replaceable core. These are really popular for home use. They sell for about $100, but they've got your replaceable core, so once you shoot them out, you can, for $50, you can keep shooting the target. The problem with these targets are, because they're only 20 centimeters wide, which is the same as you shoot an archery club, they'll tend to fall down if you just put them on the ground. So I took one of these away when I went to Kangaroo Island, and I had to stick arrows behind it to hold the thing in place. So if you're going to shoot one of these at home, you'll need to make a little stand or something for it, or put it up against something to stop it falling over when you shoot. Now, you don't want to put it up against a tree, because if your arrow goes through the target, it's going to punch into the tree, and then you're not going to be able to pull the arrow out because you're stuck in wood. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, these targets here have been super popular. They're a big cube target. I think they're about 60 by 50 by 40 wide. These can sit on their own. The problem is they don't have a replaceable core, but they're pretty affordable. I think they're about $130, which makes it the most affordable foam target as far as cube you can buy. So for shooting broadheads, and even the other target, the first one we started with, is suitable for broadheads, because your broadhead will probably pass through, and then you just unscrew the broadhead and then pull the arrow out. So they're really affordable. Now what we're going to get to is these targets here. These are brand new. I've never seen them before. So once I get to unpack them, we're going to have a look at them. And what these should be is layered foam targets. So when you shoot, your arrow actually goes through between two layers, so you get less wear, easy to pull your arrows out of the target, and I think they're really, really affordable. And when I say really, really affordable, I'm thinking they obviously come in different sizes. These are obviously the 120s, but they come in different sizes. So the 120s are for your target clubs, and I'm pulling numbers out of the air because, like I said, I paid for it I think in December, and it's 6 months on. But I'm going to guess the home use target is probably around $100, and I'm guessing the big layered ones are not too bad. I'm guessing they're well under the 400, because I wouldn't have ordered so many unless they're really well priced. So check them out, but we're going to have a look at them. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of new products in this Fastgo shipment, and yes, this just did happen. These are new cubes from Fastgo. They're 35 centimeters by 35 centimeters. Budget price. Now these are going to be really good for people who want a cheap target, and because they're the same dimensions all the way around, you can shoot them from all sides. Going to be good for broadhead shooting. And what's really good, some of the cheap Chinese targets like these are layered, and they fall apart, and they're stuffed with material and stuff on the inside. These are solid foam. There's no layering to kind of fall apart, and they're going to be budget priced. But I want to show you two new products I'm really excited about. I just took two to the shop just to show the staff what they're like, and I'm really excited by these products. This target is foam, but it's layered, so each strip, let's find the strip. So each one is a strip about that thick of foam, and it's been compressed together. And what's really good about this, so when I've got foam targets at home, the worst thing about it is you want to shoot the center, and you shoot out the center, and it's like, well, the target's stuffed. So what you end up doing is you're shooting here, shooting here, shooting here, all around the edges to use the most of the foam. But with this target, because it's layered, you can shoot in the middle, and when the middle's shot out, pull out the middle one and then chuck a new middle in. And what's really, really good about this target is the price point. It's about half the price of a normal foam target. So there's also a smaller version, 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters by 20 centimeters. And you're gonna say, well, can you buy replacement foam strips? Well, you probably just buy another target and then just layer them in. Now, what I would think with this target, they're pulled together by strapping. And when I actually saw them, they were held together by rope, so some sort of rope system. And you can use like ratchet straps to strap them together. But what I'd use wood on the top, wood on the bottom, then clamp them with continuous thread. And that's the way we used to make targets, which were made out of Stramit. But this is going to be foam. They're going to be about half the cost of a normal foam target, with the advantage is you've got no center to shoot out. Well, when you shoot out, you just replace it, so the whole target will be used, because you never use these edges. They never get used, so they're a complete waste. And this way you're going to use the whole target, and you're only going to be shooting out 2 strips, which is going to cost you, there's probably 40 strips there. It's going to cost you hardly anything to shoot target archery. So really excited. These are just new, so let's have a shot and see how they go. Okay, so a major cost for archery clubs is the targets that you're shooting at. And there's the other cost of the target face, but we're not going to go to that through this video. But the foam and the replacement of that foam is a major cost for target clubs. And for me, when I was setting up an archery club, like the targets were costing 800 each, the centers were 100 each, and I'm like, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to make archery affordable for people to come and try? This gives me now an option. Now you can use like plastic wrap and that sort of stuff to make targets, which is the foam target you see behind the target that we're shooting at. And it's got like basic foam, which is about $80 in the front of it, and then plastic wrap in the middle. But I'm interested in this because this is 130 by 130, and for home use, fantastic. So let's try it out. That could be a problem. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so the arrow went in there. It's gone straight through. So the arrow's gone straight through the target. You can see it here. So this is a problem. So let's just try pulling the arrow. The foam feels relatively soft. It feels a bit like this foam up here. Now I use this one at home, this foam up here at home for my normal shooting, and I've had it there for a couple of years. They're 10 centimeters thick. I feel like this is a very similar foam, but 20 centimeters thick. So the problem with this target is not the cost point. The cost point's good. The problem is the arrow. If you're going to shoot recurves or low poundage bow, this target's good. The problem is this is going to penetrate too much because the foam is soft. So you're going to need a backing behind it or a bag or something to catch the arrow. Now the Denage targets are very similar to this. So with Denage targets, I have the same problem that when I shoot within a few arrows, my arrows are actually passing straight through. Now Denage make the targets in different thicknesses, but at my archery club, when I shoot on the edge of the target, it's thin and my arrows pass straight through. So we have actually foam targets behind the foam target, if that makes sense. So we have a target like this behind the target to actually catch the arrows. And now the Denage target's much more expensive, but it's a soft foam also. This is a bit more dense than the Denage, and to me it doesn't look layered. So with the 11 foam targets, you have different thicknesses of foam as you shoot, and they're kind of glued together. So it's soft then hard, like whatever the combination is. And as you start shooting, the target kind of expands. This is one foam all the way through, so you're not going to have that expansion occurring. but still that is a problem if you're shooting a 60-pound or more compound that they're going to penetrate. So you're going to need a bag or something behind it to catch the arrow. Okay, so it's about 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. So we got here at 7 to start unpacking this. I'm not even halfway through it. Now I've had to fix some bows, I've answered some emails, I've done some other things as the day's gone on. But I'm not halfway through it, I've got to finish it. But I'm just going to show you how well they pack these containers. So I've got a whole bunch of targets that we've gone through so far, like different styles, and they're still packed like a Tetris game. There's no gaps anywhere in this container. Totally amazing to me. But we'll get through this and we'll finish it tonight. Okay, so it's 5:30 and I haven't finished the container. There's still at least 3 rows of these targets to go, and these are the big ones. These are the big heavy ones. And I'm buggered. So with that, I've spoken to Fastgo about the arrow going through. They didn't think it would go through, and we're sort of suggesting making the targets 30 centimeters wide to stop the compounders with thin arrows. I'm going to try that target now with a recurve. Okay, so Fastgo suggested gluing these bits of foam together, and I said that's not the issue. The issue's the foam wasn't dense enough, so it's not as heavy as like the 11s or Fastgo's own 122 centimeter target. So let's just try this. This is a 42-pound recurve with skinny arrows, so these are 600 spined arrows. Now that stops it well. Let's go and have a look at the penetration. Right, so this is the arrow. You can see it stopped it. There's the one next to it. You can see it's not through the middle. At the back, you can see how much is penetrating. Just the point is coming through. So with a recurve, these targets are fine. So for light poundage bows, beginners, recurve shooters, these are targets we find. With compound shooters, you'll need backing behind or even 2 of them. Now Denage uses like material, some sort of dense material behind it, or some people use conveyor belts behind foam targets to stop it. So I'm unpacking the 40-foot container, and I've got literally so many pallets of targets, and I've still got heaps of pallets in the container to unpack. And this reminds me of my father. So my father's passed away, and Dad had an archery shop for about 30 years. And he used to buy in bulk. And Mum used to go through the roof at Dad because he'd buy 200 bows, and she'd go, "What are you going to do with this? You've wasted our money. We're going to be broke." And yeah, anyway, they got divorced, obviously. But anyway, Dad would say to me, "Did you think about where you're going to put this before you ordered it?" And I'd smile at him and go, "No. Do I look like I thought about this before I ordered it?" And at which stage my dad would break out in like a red rash, like hives. And I'm pretty sure that was stress, but he would take medication for it. And I'm unpacking this now. I'm thinking Dad would be breaking out in hives. Because I don't know where I'm going to put all these targets. Like, this is a new store. It's 900 square meters, and I've just filled it with a 40-foot container of targets. Now, I filled it with other containers as well. There's more containers in here. There's the 11 container. There's more containers to come. But I'm like, I totally underestimated how much space this stuff will take. And I'll tell you what I'm doing now, which is, I'm like, where am I going to put all this? And you'll see behind me the forklift. I'm like, there's some space up the top there. I can put some up there. I will probably fit about 3 to 4 pallets of these targets. These targets up there, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to put them all. I'm actually thinking of buying 40-foot containers and stacking them on top of one another. And one of my staff said, "How are you going to get to them?" And I was like, "I built a platform." So I don't know, but anyway, I was just thinking, like, before you buy stock, think about where you're going to put it. That's my advice to you. Now, I don't follow that advice. I just tend to I thought it was a 20-foot container. I just hope someone buys these targets. Now I would say last time I ordered these targets, there's a lead time, but last time I ordered them, I sold out in 2 months. So 8 weeks, the whole lot of this was gone. So it's not like they don't sell. I'll be the only shop in Australia with them. There's not that many foam targets in Australia because you need heaps of space, the shipping costs are high, the wait time's high. My Morel target, I've got a 40-foot container coming from Morel. That's been on order for over a year. And it's been picked up about 4 weeks ago, so I'm just thinking where's that going to go? I forgot about that one. But it's that was a year lead time to get it, and when it comes in, you've got to store it. It's not like everyone goes out and buys Morel targets and goes, yeah, I've got my Morel target, it'll be right for a year. It's not the way it works. There would be a bit of a rush at the start because no one will have any targets because there's been no targets in Australia. But then it'll just be like trickles. People will be buying 2 or 3 targets a week until you start getting it down, and then you need to order another container. So yeah, if I had a business in America, and I did look at opening up in America a couple of times, I'd be bringing these things in. I'd be bringing in stuff that you don't have in America, and I'd have a warehouse and I'd fill it with archery gear and be pumping the stuff all across the US. That was my plan. But anyway, I'm Stephen Han. I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching.